Hello and welcome back to my channel. So the Doha GP was absolutely ridiculous, very much like the Qatar GP. All three categories produced some absolutely insane racing. If you do want to find out who I have for my winners and losers for all three categories, stay tuned and keep watching. So first up we have Moto3. It was an event. In itself was Moto3. I actually needed to lie down after we'd finished. So first off, we're going to start with the winners, and it's going to be a pretty obvious one. I have Pedro Acosta. So despite the penalty that he had from free practice for what's classed as irresponsible riding, which is just them absolutely fannying around in pit lane and on circuit, driving really slowly and just hindering everyone. Shocking. Once again, we are doing this. My God, when will it stop? But anyway, so Acosta did start from pit lane with the likes of Foggia and Finati and a whole host of others. However, I don't think anyone could have predicted that he would even get into the leading pack, let alone end up winning the race. But it wasn't just the fact that he's come from pit lane to win the race. It's also the fact that he's come into the Doha GP and it's his second race in Moto3. So he's only been on the bike probably a handful of times. This is the second time that he's actually been in a full race weekend setup. So the fact that he's gone and won the race on his second time out is absolutely mad. But then you add in the fact that he came from pit lane and it's just like, what? No one could have predicted this. And that is literally, so things like that are the reason that I absolutely adore Moto3. No matter how many times that it makes me want to slam my head against a wall or scream at the TV when something happens. It delivers moments like this, and it just makes it so much better, and it makes it so worthwhile being invested in the category. My second winner has got to be Nicolo Antonelli. So I am really surprised by Antonelli this year, and I know we're only 2 races in and don't count your chickens before they hatch, and I don't want to get my hopes up because it could be almost like a flash in the pan, but I think that since he has moved on from the 658 team and gone into the Reale Avintia one, he seems to have found something. I don't know what. He just seems to be more comfortable and happier in the setup that he's in, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't have like the massive pressure of having a teammate that's fighting for a world championship as he had with Tatsuki Suzuki. He's come into it and he's got Carlos Tatai, who's still quite a novice in the team or in the championship, so no one's quite expecting him to be going straight out for victories. I don't know if that plays a part, or if it is just the change that's done him the world of good. Who knows? I just hope it carries on, and I hope that this is the start of a new Nicolo. It's a more consistent and better, can't think of a better word to say, in a better Nicolo Antonelli. For the losers category, and I don't want to dwell on this for too long because it really, really annoys me, I have John McPhee and Jeremy Alcoba. So I feel really bad for having John in this category, and I am simply putting him in it because this is the second race that he's not scored any points. But it's also the second race that he's been taken out. Through no fault of his own, he's not scored any points, and it wasn't his fault. He's once again been knocked out by another rider's accident or incident. However, and this is like, obviously this is where I am tying Alcoba in the same category, same event would be a better word. Though it was obviously Alcoba's fault, probably would have been classed as a racing incident though. However, it's what happened once they went down. Now, I don't like violence. I condone violence, and saying that I am quite an aggressive person. I would have thrown hands if I got smacked in the face with the exhaust of a bike though. So I can't say that I was particularly shocked by what John did. I was shocked at the fact that as he was walking away, Alcoba did throw hands and also put in some kicks to the point where they had to get, one of the marshals had to actually separate them, which, I'll say this, props to that guy, because probably wasn't expecting that when he got up on that Sunday morning, maybe rescuing a few riders from the gravel trap. Probably wasn't expecting to have to face Jeremy Alcoba's feet doing like can high kicks. And I'll say this, and it'll be the last thing I say on the subject. If he wants to ever stop racing bikes, he's definitely got a career as a Vegas can dancer, because boy can he kick. And as for my surprises, I have to say it's got to be Andrea Migno and Kaito Toba. So Andrea Migno has actually become like a reformed character too. Well, so has Kaito Toba. They've both become reformed characters in their new teams, and I don't know if it has just been a case of a change of scenery has lit a fire under their arses. I don't know. Either way, they've both finished in really good positions. Migno in 4th and Toba in 5th. So if they can carry on with that, then they stand a good chance of fighting for the championship. And it's not like either of them are strangers to being on the podium. We've had, both of them are previous race winners. So it would be nice to see them both back up there doing that again, or at least on the podium. So it was nice to see them both well in the points. And yeah, I am hoping that this is the start of almost their comeback, but who knows. Do have to say a special shout out to the Proustel boys for both of them once again getting well into the points. So congratulations to De Pasquier and Yamanaka. Well done, lads. Very proud of you. So next up we have Moto 2. It was slightly calmer, would be the nicer way of saying it. But then again, Moto 2 is always slightly calmer than Moto 3, because Moto 3 is just kind of, you let loose a bunch of hyped up children almost. So anyway, so Moto 2 was pretty good actually as far as Moto 2 goes. I do have a nice little list of winners. It took me a little while to actually narrow it down to who I wanted, but I ended up with Sam Lowes, obviously, and the Red Bull KTM IO boys. So Sam was such an obvious choice, because he's just so different to how he has been the past couple of years, and I'm amazed and I love it, and I am so here for this Sam. I just so here for it. So obviously Sam won, now leading the championship because he's won both the opening races, and it's really nice to see him back to winning ways and looking comfortable and being happy, and it's nice for him to, I said this in my last video, it's nice for him to silence his critics and also to kind of silence Aprilia, because they've not said some nice things about him in the past when he was riding for them. So it's nice that he's back to this winning ways. So long may it continue, Sam Lowe's, and I will find you if you start crashing. I will find you. We will have words. My other winners have definitely got to be the Red Bull KTM IO boys. So both of them on the podium. Remy was absolutely outstanding. Like, didn't put a foot wrong. Got that second place, put himself in prime position to be fighting for the title, which I feel really bad for kind of writing him off now. So I'm eating my words. But I mean my words in the best kind of way. I like it when people prove me wrong, that they're actually doing way better than I expected them to do. Yeah, I'm very happy that Remy is proving me wrong and is up there fighting at the front. And other one, it's got to be Raul Fernandez. Oh, my little heart was so happy. So, third position on his second race out with them. First podium as a rookie in Moto2. So proud of my boy. But he didn't put a foot wrong. Yeah, like he was leading for a little bit, and he was. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna hold it against him that he didn't keep a hold of the lead and whatnot. Third place on his second time out. Boy done good. Boy done very good. And long may that continue. As for my losers, unfortunately, it is once again Lorenzo Baldassarri is on that list, as is Joe Roberts. So Baldassarri's second non-point scoring finish of the year, which I'm going to keep saying it. Yeah, we're only into the second race of the year. I understand that. But 2 off the bat, when it's not been a case of you've been involved in a crash or something like that, or if I feel bad for saying it, but if it has been a case of someone else has taken you out, like John, then it's almost slightly easier to explain and slightly better because it's not been your fault. But when you're at that point where you're at the back of the pack, like, he finished 20th out of 21 riders that finished that race. So I don't know what's happened, Balda. I really don't know what's happened, and I would love to know, because it was only a year ago that he was on the podium in Qatar. So I don't know what has gone so wrong in 12 months that he's now not even scoring points. With 2 non-point scoring finishes in 2 races, I can only hope that things will improve from there. They can't get any worse, touch wood. They can't get any worse. But yes, my other one has to be Joe Roberts, because it was just a weekend to forget for Joe. He crashed out, he was furious with himself, and I understand why, because when you are coming into it as, oh, this is my year, I'm going to be world champion, we're fighting at the front, I'm with the World Championship winning team. They took Bastianini to his title. It's a lot of pressure to be under, and I hope he's not bowing to the pressure. I hope this is just a glitch, just a little something he can work through. I really hope so. I'd love to see Joe fighting back at the front, because it's never nice to see someone come into a new team and struggle so badly when they have done well, and especially seeing as there was all that palaver at the back end of last year with Joe and American racing, and it was all just a little bit messy. So I do hope that him and Balder can both find their feet again this year. As for my surprise, it has to be Ayagura. I wasn't expecting Ai to come into Moto2 and blow things out of the water, a bit like how Raul Fernandez has done, because it's been a long time since we've seen a Honda Team Asia bike at the front. But he did finish 5th behind Marco Bezzecchi, but in front of Augusto Fernandez. So I was well impressed. And I don't really have words for it, because it was what was happening with Sam and Remy at the front. We didn't really get a look at what was happening with the likes of Ayagura and Augusto Fernandez. So it wasn't until the results came up that you kind of realised that the rookies had actually done really well in that race. So yeah, props to all of the rookies in Moto2. You actually did very well. Good for you guys. Good for you. Let's hope that it's gonna get a little bit easier as we go into the season, but in all fairness, it's not gonna be quite like Qatar. The weather, at least. And last but not least, we have MotoGP. Oh, it was a good race, wasn't it? It was a good race. So, first up, winners got to be Fabio Quartararo and Johann Zarco. So, I'm quite happy that Fabio has managed to come into the weekend and find the pace to get to the front, because it's quite difficult to go from your satellite team to the factory team, especially when Yamaha had so many issues last year. So it was nice to see him being back at the front. I wasn't quite expecting him to get into the lead and just kind of vanish into the distance, in a manner of speaking. It's not quite how Mark has done in previous years, and it still gave us a lot of entertainment. But yeah, I'm just so glad that he managed to get back to winning ways. And he's had quite a tough off-season with contracting coronavirus and being struck down by that. I'm glad that he's come back and he's managed to get that strength back, get that fitness back to be able to get to victory, would be the easiest way of saying it. As for Zarco, it's nice to see that he's come into a team where he feels like he can be competitive and the machinery is matching his skills, because we all saw him try and get the Sponsorama Racing bike to places that it really shouldn't have been. Let's face it, he should never have been in Parc Fermé in qualifying, and it was so high up that even the bike was on the verge of getting oxygen deprivation. So it's nice for him to be able to have some machinery that actually fits him. and is now currently leading the World Championship, which, if you asked me at the start of the season, I would not have picked him to be one of my options. I feel bad because all my predictions have been absolutely god-awful. It's a good job people don't rely on me to make their predictions like they do for like betting companies. I'd be terrible at it. People would lose a lot of money. So my losers for this race have got to be Petronas, and I feel bad for saying it because I always feel bad for saying someone's a loser in all fairness. But their performance so far this year has been, to sum it up, it's the only way I can put it. I don't know what's happened to them. It's just gone pear-shaped. I mean, looking at the results from the last race, Frankie was in 12th and Valentino was in 16th. Wasn't even in the points. I just don't understand. Don't understand. Went from winning races and taking Frankie almost to the title to being the arse end of the points and even out the points. Words fail me. They absolutely fail me. I also have to say that another team on my list of losers has got to be LCR, because they also were out of the points with both their riders. Alex crashed and Taka finished in 17th. I would love to know what's happened in the off season that both teams have gone so far backwards. Who knows? It's almost infuriating because you see them do so well one year and now you get your hopes of like, oh good, next year will be their year, and then they end up going the opposite direction. Don't know. It's frustrating. It is frustrating. But my surprises of the race, definitely Jorge Martin. I mean, he was my surprise of the weekend, getting pole position in his second race. There's a lot of good rookies through. If you haven't noticed, there's a running theme in this video at the minute that there's a lot of really good rookies in all three categories. That's another thing. Rookies deserve more recognition. But yes, Jorge Martin getting pole position in his second race with Pramac, no, I said Petronas there, with Pramac in MotoGP. And then getting a podium, coming third. Like, that is one prediction I got right. And no one can take that away from me. Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before Jorge is getting victories the way he's going. He's well up there with the big boys. And my other one has got to be Aleix Espargaro. Also a massive surprise at how well the Aprilia is doing, and Aleix has always wanted to big up what Aprilia is doing. He is very much Mr. Positivity until he gets arguing with Jorge Lorenzo on Twitter. But anyway, let's not open that can of worms. Aleix finishing in 10th on the Aprilia. That's good going. Especially when his teammate Lorenzo Savadori finished in 20th. Like, props to you, Aleix. That bike has not belonged in those points for a very long time. So, props to you, Aleix. good for you. There's actually, I think there's going to be a lot of people that could fit into the surprise category as the year unfolds, and I might actually have to start keeping a tally of who goes into the surprise bit how many times, because I think once they've been in more than twice they can't go back in. So that's Jorge Martin out. I'm going to have to put him into a winners category next, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So anyway, that is my winners, losers and surprises from the Doha GP. I'm sorry that the video is rather late. I did actually go back up to the north for Easter. I got precisely 0 eggs, so I was very disappointed. And then I couldn't even go and get any, because by the time that, like, you know, the discount eggs, you know how they do, I couldn't even go and get any because they were sold out everywhere. So there weren't even any discount eggs, so very disappointing. Very disappointing. Anyway, totally off subject. Yes, so video was late because I went home and now I am back home in the south. But anyway, I'm quite glad that I delayed this because we also had the news that Marc Marquez will be back for Portimao, so things just got very spicy. So congratulations to Marc for finally getting the all clear, and also a massive congratulations to Alex Rins, who is going to be a dad. Apparently, Andorra is the land of fertility. You did not hear it here. You did not hear it here first. Get me words out. Anyway, don't forget to drop me a comment down below who your winners, losers and surprises for the Doha GP, and also where you think that Marc will finish the race in Portimao. I don't know. I think that's just gonna be a bit of a mystery until FP1, I think. But for now, I will see you all in a little bit, maybe next week. Have yet to decide what I'm going to talk about. But anyway,